If you
smoke weed every day
and you're a CDL driver, I hate to break it to you, but you can't have it both ways. YouTube, what's going on? It's Saja here and I'm back with another video. In this video, I'm going to tell you some valuable information about the FMCSA Clearinghouse and the SAP program, or what I like to call the SAP trap. The FMCSA stands for the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. And on January of 2020, they implemented the Clearinghouse. And the purpose of the Clearinghouse is to clear the house of drug abusers. For the most part. The Clearinghouse is an online database that allows employers, the FMCSA, law enforcement, and state licensing agencies to access any driver's drug test violations after 2020. If you're a driver that failed a drug test in 2019, you're not in the Clearinghouse. In fact, it's 2024. So if you failed a drug test in 2020, employers are not required to look past your history after 3 years. But that doesn't necessarily mean you're in the clear, and I'll touch on that later in the video. If you operate a CMV, you can't hide a failed DOT drug test. Companies are required to report it, and any other company can access it because you have to consent for that company to access your clearinghouse data, or they can't hire you. The clearinghouse isn't just for drugs. Your clearinghouse has information on alcohol violations too. For example, if you have a BAC of 0.004 or greater, you've used alcohol 4 hours before operating a CMV, use alcohol 8 hours after an accident, and if you use it post-accident before the drug test is completed. And obviously, what this video is mostly about, the Clearinghouse has information if you test positive for a controlled substance, which are the ones I'll list right here. Or if you refuse to take a DOT drug test. Now notice how I'm saying, if you operate a CMV, commercial motor vehicle. This just isn't for truck drivers. The DOT Clearinghouse affects school bus drivers, limousine drivers, waste management drivers, and transit bus drivers. Now why are these companies required to drug test us? Well, it all goes back to money. Money makes the world go round. If drivers that perform safety-sensitive functions aren't getting DOT drug tests, companies will incur hefty fines. Additionally, consequences may include lower CSA scores. CSA stands for Compliance, Safety, and Accountability. And the company may just shut down altogether because they're not DOT compliant. So, the most important part of the video, what happens if I fail a drug test? Well, first off, you're going to be removed from the CMV. You cannot operate a CMV if you fail or refuse a DOT-regulated drug test. A failed or refused DOT drug test are treated exactly the same. So, you have two options. The first is to give up trucking for 5 years, and the violation will go away on its own. And the second option is to seek out a substance and abuse professional. Now, depending on the cost of living, these SAP programs can range from $400 to $700, and this comes out of your pocket. You are responsible for paying for that SAP program. You complete a series of educational videos and treatment involving the drugs that cause you to fail the drug test. Now, the program depends on the initial assessment the SAP professional gives you, and it varies from person to person. Then you complete the return to duty process, which consists of a drug test. The drug test must be negative. Obviously, you don't want a second clearinghouse violation. And after that, you have to do 6 random and observed drug tests until you complete the SAP program. Now, this program is a joke. You are going to struggle, perhaps, for several years to find a job. And even if you complete the program, companies have a zero tolerance for a failed drug test. And every application you fill out for a trucking company or any company that has a safety-sensitive position asks the following question. Have you ever failed a pre-employment or company-issued drug test? Remember, you can't hide a failed DOT drug test, and it stays in your clearinghouse for 3 to 5 years, however long it stays on there. So it doesn't benefit you to lie or tell the truth, and that's why the name of this video is called the SAP Trap. A failed drug test can follow you, and it can really ruin your life. It can affect you financially, and sadly, I've heard tragic stories of drivers that deleted themselves because of the SAP Trap. There are very few second chance companies out there, especially if you have no experience. Because if you have a commercial learning permit, you have to register with the DOT Clearinghouse too. And you can ruin your trucking career before it even starts because of a failed DOT truck test. And if you have experience and you have a clear, clean cut, squeaky clean driving record, no clearinghouse violations, you're eligible to work for hundreds of trucking companies. But you slip up and you fail a drug test, you're probably eligible to work for maybe 10 trucking companies. And even those companies have a quota of drivers. They can't hire all the SAP drivers because of insurance. As I mentioned earlier, you're pretty much screwed if you answer yes or no to this question. Have you ever failed a pre-employment or company-issued drug test? Well, this also applies to hair follicle testing. Now, hair follicle testing is not even DOT regulated. However, a failed hair follicle test could potentially follow you too. But that's going to be the topic of my next video. So if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, comment, and you can also follow me on social media. And I'll see you next time.